Right now on KGW News, the upsets and close calls in tonight's special election, where voters are rejecting and supporting new taxes. Plus,
we have this huge challenge. I think it's as serious as any challenge we have.
The controversial plan to divert partier kicker to fight one of Oregon's biggest challenges. Then, new at 11, the shocking video as severe storms hit parts of the South and the Midwest. And later,
enough is enough, and we're sick of it.
Why voters on the Oregon coast are skipping out on a decades-long Memorial Day tradition. Good evening, everyone. It is election night in Oregon, with voters weighing in on several hyper-local races, including school board seats, bond measures, and new taxes. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We've got some close calls, some upsets, and you'll be able to see the full results right now scrolling across the bottom of your screen. So let us begin with the most closely watched measure in the Portland Metro, that $1.83 billion bond renewal for Oregon's biggest school district. Right now, it's on track to pass with nearly 55% voting in favor. The closest margin, by the way, since a PPS bond failed in 2011. Tonight, district leaders quick to declare victory and to thank voters. Catherine Cook was with supporters as the first results came in.
A lot of cautious optimism here. People are excited and relieved. Supporters of this bond measure campaigned hard, especially on the home stretch, saying they needed to pass this for kids' sake. Still, they knew a lot of folks were hesitant, calling this bond measure a big ask, something they weren't going to pass a second time. With that in mind, this was the reaction from the crowd of supporters as the first numbers came in. A lot of those cheers were from parents, many whose kids attend one of 3 high schools that the bond renewal will really impact. Most of the $1.83 billion will cover major rebuilds of Jefferson, Ida B. Wells, and Cleveland high schools. On Monday, supporters rallied outside Cleveland for last-minute votes. They believe rebuilding these schools will create a safer and more comfortable learning environment for the kids and hopefully boost enrollment. Remember, PPS enrollment has dropped by around 11% since 2019. A good portion of funding will also go to seismic improvements at schools district-wide.
We have critical needs in our buildings with our infrastructure. The remodel and redesign of our schools are extremely important, and it's also important that we address some of those failures, like the heating and cooling system, seismic upgrades, and so the passage of this bond means that that's the work that we're going to be able to do moving forward.
Some kids whose parents voted for the bond renewal will have already graduated before the rebuilds are complete. Still, supporters say this is for the whole community.
The whole point is to pay it forward. It's for the next generation. It's for the kids that are coming up that'll have a nice new modern high school.
Because this is a bond renewal, taxpayers within Portland Public Schools won't see a tax increase because of it. Right now, property owners are paying around $2.50 per $1,000 of assessed home value for the bond. And one more thing, the school district's proposed $2 billion budget for next year, which the board approved Monday night, was created on the assumption that voters would pass this bond. And that's just one more reason why a lot of people are breathing a big sigh of relief. In Southeast Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
So taxes not going up and not going down either. Okay, let's talk about Portland School Board now. There are 4 seats up for grabs. Zone 1, Christy Split is far out in front with 79% of the vote. Split has worked as a high school teacher in the Oregon Legend, was appointed to the seat 3 months ago. Keep in mind the winner here will only serve 2 years since they are filling out the remainder of a term. All right, over to Zone 4, a big upset there. It looks like incumbent Herman Green will lose his seat. Rochelle Chase Miller, who earned the teachers union endorsement, is out front there with 57%. Green, by the way, has been on the board since 2021. Chase Miller has a background in early childhood education and is the director of the SMART reading program. In Zone 5, this is an open seat. Virginia LaFord, a marketing strategist and PPS parent, leading with nearly 55% of the vote, facing off against Jorge Sanchez Bautista, 18 years old and a senior at McDaniel High. And in Zone 6, Stephanie Engelsman leading with 80% of the vote. Engelsman's a public defender and PPS parent and is also endorsed by the Portland Teachers Union. Okay, hopping over to Washington County because there are a few tax bonds that are on track to fail tonight. This one, we're still looking too close to call, but so far voters are rejecting the Tiger Tualatin school bond. 51.5% saying no. This is $421 million that would raise property taxes to replace or renovate 5 high schools. In Multnomah County, another bond to help out Mount Hood Community College. Their first in 50 years is also on track to fail right now. Nearly 53% rejecting it. It's $136 million that would have gone toward campus repairs, workforce training programs, and community accessibility. And as these votes get counted, turnout, by the way, appearing extraordinarily sluggish, just up to 18.5% in Multnomah County. As these votes get counted, check for real-time updates anytime. It's broken down by county for you on KGW.com and on the KGW mobile app. New tonight, we're getting more reaction to a plan by some Oregon lawmakers to withhold part of next year's kicker rebate in order to help cover the cost of wildfires. The governor also voicing support for the idea. Alma McCarty's here. And Alma, you talked to folks on both sides of the aisle. What'd you hear?
David, that is correct. Just yesterday, though, Governor Kotek told reporters taking a portion of the expected tax refund, which is $1.64 billion to do this work, would be a, quote, beneficial approach.
Fight the fires and also protect communities to be more ready for fire. We need to find some resources to do that.
And this week, one of the resources Governor Tina Kotek singled out, Oregon's kicker, expected to be $1.64 billion next year. The governor suggesting $1 billion of the tax refund be diverted to this effort.
The only conversation that I'm entertaining, the only conversation I'm hearing about is to use a portion of that money on a one-time basis to fund wildfire suppression and mitigation. I think that's the right conversation to be having, and I would urge legislators to continue with that.
A conversation started by State Senator Jeff Golden.
We have this huge challenge. I think it's as serious as any challenge we have.
Widespread devastation in his Rogue Valley district and a dwindling general fund motivating him to seek this alternative.
Redirect the income tax kicker one time, it only happens once, into a permanent wildfire trust fund where you never spend the principal, you only spend the interest earnings.
By the senator's estimates, that would provide $165 million each biennium, or half, he says, of what the state needs to address wildfires.
I think it's getting a serious consideration, in part because it's kind of a one and done.
However, some lawmakers, like House Republican leader Christine Drazen, say that's just not the case.
Republicans will not support it. Republicans do not support taking the kicker for this purpose.
Representative Drazen arguing against the proposal and the governor's support of it.
I would hope that she would recognize that every Oregonian wants to solve this crisis. And there are proposals out there that do it without taking the kicker.
Now, lawmakers are legally able to claw back some of the kicker with a 2/3 majority vote. That means 20 out of the 30 senators and 40 out of the 60 representatives. 2 Republicans from the Senate would need to sign off, and so would 4 from the House. David?
I guess we'll see if that has any chance of happening. Thanks, Alma. Appreciate it. Okay, let's take you outside on this election night after a night of mixed results and a day that was a bit of a mixed bag when it came to sunshine and showers. Matt Safino's here with the first look at the rest of the week. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. Yeah, the showers are winding down quickly. Still a few speckles left up in the Washington Cascades of Skamania County, but that's about it for Western Oregon. There's a few more, out of the Oregon coast too in the Coast Range, but far less than what we had even just a couple of hours ago. These showers are winding down quite quickly at this point. Temperatures are dropping quickly too. It's already down to 45 in McMinnville, 47 in Hillsborough. Portland's still at 54, but it's getting cold pretty quickly. Hood River's still at 52, but you know what? Out there, it's going to drop into the 30s. So there is a frost advisory up for the Hood River Valley for tomorrow morning. Temperatures down around 35. So be aware of that if you've got your garden out already. All attention, though, turning to Memorial Day weekend, and it looks like a beauty. Even Friday is going to be dry. Getaway day looks good, but the warm up really kicks into high gear on Saturday as we climb up to 74 degrees. Temperatures peak on Sunday with 82, and Monday still very warm, 77, even though some showers and thunderstorms will develop in the afternoon, especially up in the Cascades. If that's your weekend destination, just be aware of that. We'll have more on the forecast in a bit, David.
Yeah, looking good for the unofficial start of summer. Thanks, Matt. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Police have arrested 2 men for murder and say they killed a Gresham teenager more than 3 years ago. 15-year-old Logan Ivy was killed at the Columbia Trails Apartments in 2021. Kevin Rivas Ramirez and Ty Sage allegedly robbed a group that included Ivy, then shot him and 2 others. Rivas Ramirez was arrested Friday and was in court yesterday. His trial is set for June. Sage was arrested in Coos County and will be extradited to Portland. A woman has been indicted in connection with a large-scale burglary ring. Authorities say targeted over 100 Portland area businesses. Selena Jacobo was arrested today on multiple felony charges. This is video from the Shamrock Bar and Grill, one of the businesses burglarized. Police say she and another suspect broke in and stole over $16,000. This comes after 4 other alleged burglary ring members were previously indicted. One of them has already pleaded guilty. A Hillsborough man has been convicted of multiple sexual assault charges, involving 2 teenage girls. The Washington County DA's office says 23-year-old Ryan Hancock sexually assaulted a 15-year-old in 2020 and a 17-year-old in 2022. In both cases, the victims say Hancock gave them alcohol before he took them to his car and sexually assaulted them. Investigators are concerned there could be other victims. Hancock will be sentenced next month. And in southern Oregon, investigators have wrapped up a multi-day search at a wild animal park, seizing more than 300 animals. Authorities say this follows a lengthy investigation into how the West Coast Game Park Safari that's near Bandon was caring for animals, along with questions about permits and their business practices. Most of the animals were moved to sanctuaries or rescue centers, though at least 3 of them were euthanized. Records show the park had already faced recent violations, including malnourished big cats and food stored in trash cans contaminated by rodents.